Welcome to episode 477 of This Week in League. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jay.
And I'm Glenn.
How are we doing, fellas?
Fucking fantastic.
This beautiful no football week.
If it was any better, it'd be illegal.
Well,
I'll tell you, it's amazing.
There was football.
More amazing than Glenn. Well, yeah, arguable. Yeah, okay.
Oh, Thor.gif.
But the fact that there's no football and my team goes up a place on the ladder, that shit's fucking great. If only every week was like that. Now, you boys got anything you want to report beforehand? This is what we're going to do this week. We've got obviously the Origin deciders on Wednesday night, so that messes around with the schedule a little bit. So we're going to do the round 17 recap episode tonight, as always. We'll take a look at the Origin as well.
We will.
And then we are going to do at the very least, the second half of Origin Membersode on Wednesday night, and then we will do the match previews and the Origin recap on Thursday of this week. Sound good?
Yep.
Yeah,
Awesome.
fuck.
Okay. Get it. Got it. Good. What, Glennie? What?
All
I heard was surly shit starting to come out of your
I
mouth.
said, yeah, fuck it. That's all I said. It
No, that was a Toowoomba celebration.
All right. Look, hey, Glennie, I forgot to send you the photo today. I took a selfie with the digger and it had the sticker on it that said, "Love your digger." I got 2 diggers in my backyard as we speak. It's amazing. I'm actually in the MI. I'm probably more in the MI than you ever been.
You're a fucking piece of shit, mate. I've had enough.
How many diggers you got at your house? How many diggers you got at your house, Glennie?
0.
I know the answer. 0.
How many?
I got
how
2
many
diggers.
do you have at your workplace?
1.
And how much ground did it break today?
Sorry?
How much dirt did it move?
Well,
how much digging did it dig?
Given that it's about to be dismantled because it got fucking submerged in mud, it's not doing a lot of digging, that particular
So you're
digger.
not in the MI, you're in the WI. For wrecking. You're a fucking junkyard doll.
Oh, fuck me dead. Oh, how good.
Right. Anyway, without further ado, we may as well get into the round 17 games.
Let's do it.
I had a trip into the footy as a neutral on Sunday to watch the Broncos and Dragons game at Suncorp.
Nice.
And I'll tell you, for the first time ever, I sat above the lower tier.
Yeah.
So I was up on the next one beside the scoreboard.
Yep.
It's fucking the best spot to watch
not
it
bad,
from.
eh?
It's fucking great. It's like, this is probably tertiary, or like this is low down the list. Very fucking cheap, only $15 for a child to go in there.
Serious?
Yeah, I think it was like $35 I think for adults and $15 for kids or some shit. It was pretty fucking. And I think there was like an $80 2 adult 2 kid thing, like family pass you could do as well. And so I took my nephew, he was up from the country so I took him to Big Smoke for his first game not at first game at a big stadium, which was the Titans game last year, but first game at Suncorp, and he's very fucking rugby league crazy, so it was, he wanted to get photos in front of, with the Wally Wanker statue and Darren Lockyer statue and all the rest of that, so it was a little bit disappointing. He was wearing a Manly jersey, but cheering everything for both sides. I mean, he was so pro rugby league. He's cheering, doing chants for both sides when something good happened for either side. Like,
Can I say that makes me happy? And again, I think just being so long ingrained in that bit of fucking rugby league world of fuck every team except mine.
Yeah.
It's fucking
A world
so
I know well.
It is so refreshing just for people to be a fan of the game.
Yep.
That's nice. That's fucking Dairy Queen.
Yeah, so it was great. He had a great time, and we got lots of tries. But that position, I'll tell you, it feels like if you're up there beside, like you're sort of beside the big scoreboards. Like it sort of splits into scoreboards in between these 2 sections that I assume mirror each other, and it feels like you kind of tucked in there. Like there's no one behind you because there's no one behind you.
Yep.
There's no one to that side. And like it's great, and because you're sitting fairly central and you're up that little bit higher, you're sitting about the height of the spider cam. You just can watch everything unfold
Yeah, you can see all the setups.
which is, and it's just and like, Jesus, the amount of fucking 3-man overlaps on the left that the Broncos blew in the first half. Jesus Christ! But anyway, we'll get to that. But yeah, it was a great day out. There was more people there than I thought too for a Sunday afternoon. Sunday,
it did seem to be
late
a decent
Sunday.
crowd. I reckon the biggest benefit of that position that you guys sat in would have been if we had been there for last year's grand final. So that fucking drunk cunt that was like, "Give me a pee." We could have just fucking shoved the cunt over the balcony to an untimely death and done the world a fucking favour.
That's about like that. We were probably sitting like on that line, except up the tier. Yeah, like up one tier. So just to the right of the uprights. But yeah, it was great.
The only time I've ever sat up in that section was a State of Origin, and we were in a corner.
Yeah.
And fucking Brett Kamali threw a fucking intercept pass. And I saw Matt Bowen run away with all my fucking hopes and dreams.
Right, beautifully squared off, and you could just see the whole thing unfold.
And you know what? That fucking moment, everything that's happened to Brett Kamali since then, none of it's been enough to fucking absolve him.
Coaching the Tigers, still not enough.
You're gonna need. You got what? How many games left in the season, Glennie? You got to play like 9 or 10 games. Lose all those.
Oh, I'm getting to it. But nearly.
I hope that more news comes out of the West Tigers tomorrow or the next day, because fuck me, do I want to talk about the potential resurrection of Sheenius on Thursday's episode, Glennie?
You and me both, Nathan. You and me both. Grab
the lube. Thursday, be there. Because let's face it, with the Origin and everything, I think you're going to fucking need it. Now, round 17, the rest of the games. Let's kick it off from Thursday night. The Sharkies 28 defeated the Storm 6 at PointsBet Stadium. And the Sharkies tries, 28 points, tries to a hat-trick to Jesse Ramian. Brayley, the Mutt, and Sione Katoa with tries. Trindle could not kick to save himself, 2 of 6. Defeating the Storm with a try to Alec McDonald and a conversion to Nick Meaney.
Not often you see a team completely blitzkrieg the Storm, regardless of who the Storm might have out at any given time. I think Cronulla, their attack was on, and there was some stuff that came off that, you got to tip your hat to them, but it's probably not going to come off every game. They were on fire, but I also feel like they controlled the game really well, and on top of that, Melbourne were, again, and this is several times this season we've said it, they were off. They were just off. They had players out, and we've spoken at length about the next man up mentality, and they probably set the standard for that for so long. But there's, between the Munster and Smith controversy, with the fucking mysterious white powder, the contract dramas Smith going to the Roosters, and now as close to a slump as what they've ever really been in, with some subpar performances, close together. I think this is as tough as Melbourne have done in a little while.
Well, I'd like to just put it out there that I'm not sure it's a performance issue, across the park for the Storm, because you don't just forget how to rugby league over the space of a couple of weeks, or because a player goes out, unless you're the St George Illawarra Dragons, your whole team doesn't turn to shit. But I think it can just be explained as simply as they have some players in there that have more errors in their game at the one time than they have had for the last, 15 years. They've got some outside backs there at the moment who can get a bit fucking dick fingers. And when that happens, typically you're coming, out under some pressure and you're making mistakes in your own end. And that's just led to more fatigue in the Storm. And so I think it's just the nature of the game that's getting them, that if you continually make errors in your own end, coming out of trouble and inviting teams back in over the course of 80 minutes, that takes its toll and you lose football games.
Fair point.
There's other things at play there too.
I think their defence has just been fucking terrible the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Now I cannot recall a time when
their
it's been
energy
so
in defence
easy.
is gone.
And just the time when it's been so easy to fucking score lots of points on the Storm.
Yeah.
Like like usually that's like the bedrock on which they
it's also
base everything.
You know, it's not often they get stripped for numbers, but when they do, the scramble and the recovery is always there, and Whereas Cronulla were getting through them, stripping them for numbers, and that was it. It was a try. It was no real cover, no scramble, no second effort, and that's what they've that's what the Storm are. So to not see it from them, it's glaring. Where compared to other sides that you don't expect that level from them.
And they are in a slump, and they are origin affected, and all of that stuff. The other thing I think they miss at the moment is a leader. You know, and Hughes is trying his fucking guts out. But this is what, and it was my prediction after Cam Smith left, right? That you had Cam Smith and Billy Slater and a bunch of the other guys that still play in that team. But they were that Bellamy mentality through and through. You know, that we are consummate professionals, we look after our diet and our training and our rehab and everything we do is for the team.
Munster and Smith are not that.
They're not that. And it's fucking hard for anybody else to be that and have everyone follow them.
Well, when you've had years of the biggest names in the team being exactly that, as you said.
Exactly.
It's hard for someone that's not like someone like Jerome Hughes, who probably has that in him, but he's not the biggest he's not the biggest dog in the yard, so to speak, at Melbourne.
Correct.
And
that's it.
The fact that, you know, essentially in that team at the moment, it's Munster and really probably Brandon Smith and maybe Harry Grant, who's not playing big minutes. Yep. They're the guys, you know.
I don't think Harry Grant's close to the guy. I think it's Munster and Smith.
Yeah, and I mean, like, remember like when we saw the Storm the morning after the 2018 grand final?
Yep.
Where they beat the Cowboys, and like, you know, half of the team looked like a little bit dusty, like they'd been on the drinks after you would be like the morning after a grand final win.
And then you had the morning after a grand final win when you had to get on an aeroplane in a public terminal.
Yeah, exactly. So you could tell it was a late night for half the team. Yep. There was a couple of guys that looked like fucking $1 million.
Yep.
And then you had Cam Munster, who was getting photos with fans and almost dragging him to the ground. He was so drunk he could barely walk. And Fox looked really fucked as well. I remember that one. So that party element was there, but under control by, you know, your Cam Smiths and then Cooper Cronk before he departed as well.
Yeah.
Like it was under control by the seniors at that stage. But then that party element's the senior element now.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
You know, which is when we get these the things that we saw, you know, at the resort after the season finished last year, and you know,
again, if that's the case, how many of them, like, you know, are the entire left edge or left side of the Storm hanging around and practicing defensive calls and practicing defensive shapes and who comes in and who covers and when do you stay out? Are they putting the extras in if the team element doesn't call for that? Whereas there were reports that we've all heard previously of if there was a portion of the Storm team that weren't up to it defensively, then the entire team would voluntarily put in extras after training, you know, to work on whatever it was that they didn't feel that they were up to, led by your Smiths and your Cronks and those guys.
Yeah.
So.
And look, I wouldn't be too concerned, you know, if I was around the Storm until next week and the week after. If they keep getting flogged like that, after this period of the year where you could excuse them for being a little bit off,
a full cohort for 2 weeks, and if this keeps happening, then it's fucking panic mode.
Yep.
But yeah, till then. Ryan. On Facebook, he said, the Storms look like a shadow of their former self, and I am here for it. There you go. Kurt said, the Storm decline is as disorientated as a 20-year-old borderline Barbie disassociating. Fuck me. That's personally fucking hilarious to me. Ryan, he said, it's finally happened. The Storms carried an aura post-cheating that allowed them to continue to sign and retain quality players. That has finally diminished. When once they could bring in Hinchcliffe and Croker, now they bring in Smith and Anderson. With Cheese and likely Munster on the move, Bromwich time's true and Kafusi also going. Good night, Storms, till you cheat again. There you go. Ben Dunn said, a dick for all your houses. Grover, he said, as a fan, I'm torn. Oh, this is why we love you. Fuck. And at Geo_Ute on Twitter said, the spray from Bellamy is going to be wetter than the splash zone at SeaWorld. Perhaps is underdone. Clearly needs longer on the sideline. Yeah, he was fucking far from... I don't know whether it was something he copped last week or whether it was a niggle from what he had, but he was fucked.
Yeah.
Absolutely fucked.
Yep. And he was okay the week before at times. Anyway, moving on to Friday night, where the South Sydney Rabbitohs 40 defeated the Newcastle Knights 28. In Newcastle, the Rabbits 40 came through a hat-trick to Richie Kenner. Double to Cody Walker. Totola and Paulo also with tries. Latrell 5 conversions and a penalty goal. Defeating the Knights 28. Tries to Dom Young, Clemmer, Bradman Best, Edric Lee, Mitch Barnett, and Milford 4 conversions.
A lot's been...
You go. Sorry, I just want to say before you... This, I would consider this was a fun game.
Yeah.
It was
entertaining.
Like, it wasn't... Was it an incredible, defensive quality game? No, it wasn't. But, I mean, just the ebb and flow and the comebacks and sort of some of the try scores, I was thoroughly entertained.
A lot's been said about Latrell coming back to the Rabbitohs and his level of commitment to the club and what it means to have his presence on the field for the whole squad. And I agree with all of it, but no one benefits more from Latrell being on the field, regardless of his level of fitness or his involvement in any game, than Cody Walker. That he just has an effect on Walker. Mitchell has an effect on Walker that you can't really measure. That game, he looked every bit the player he was everywhere except the grand final.
And it's as simple as him not being the only guy anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
But they were... Sorry, Glennie, keep going.
Even, we spoke about Brett Kamali earlier, but even exercised a little intercept demon of his own, maybe 2, taking an intercept. But I think Newcastle... There's some signs there. They've got some work to do defensively. That much is clear. But some of their attack, I was surprised, to be honest. Clune's probably warming to the task, if I can. I know that's not a massive rap, but I think Milford. We said the other week he's just getting that little bit better every week. He's not setting the world alight, and he's not getting any headlines, but he's actually been quite impressive in patches for Newcastle. So,
we spoke about it when Latrell came back. He's the player, or one of the few in the league who, in a position that's so frequently on the ball or around the ball and so frequently involved, can come back from such a fucking stint and really look like he hasn't missed a beat. The way he is just naturally...
He looks fitter now than what he did before he left.
Yeah, but the way he just naturally plays the game, like all of his physical attributes, just make him absolutely perfect for what he does. And with him there, he's also starting to get about him a little bit of that Thurston-esque, come with me, boys. And that's going to be a fucking scary realisation to the rest of the competition when that develops fully. When he really develops into that on-field lead by example guy, because Souths looked to pace quicker, even when he wasn't involved in the plays. Like there was it their third try? Where they ran that good old Souths just big spread out to the left, and all of a sudden they've got a fucking 45-man overlap. And they didn't have any depth to begin with. And he's like, how the fuck did that happen? And there was nothing different from what they've been doing the previous weeks. They're all just running that half pace harder. And there's confusion in the defensive line about who's going to straighten or if they're going to pass. Newcastle, for their part, I don't think looked bad.
No.
Fucking Edric's on a fucking great spell.
Any.
But they just didn't have enough firepower, and they had too many errors in them.
And the defense is just their defense isn't good. As much as they fixed whatever they fixed in their attack, there's still no defense.
What do you think of Clemmer towards the end?
He's a fucking maniac, and he always brings it. Like he had a good game.
Yeah,
he's been playing well, but then when he gets this, when they're losing the game, like in the results fairly much not in question.
Yeah,
and it gets down to the last couple of minutes, he just starts acting like a fucking maniac cunt. And look, what he did obviously wasn't worth a send off. However, I do think that the referee looked up and saw that there was like under a minute left in the game, and that was the third incident where a tackle had blown up and it was all in pushing and handbags, because Clem was obviously at the centre of it, and he was sort of trying, making goo faces at Koloamatangi or whatever, and so I think the referee said, listen, in the interest of not having a fucking all-in brawl here on the fourth time these cunts come together in 10 seconds time, I'm going to remove the problem. A, get the problem off the field so he's not there to shake hands afterwards, and so nothing can happen. B, penalty souths, which then C, allows Latrell to waste the rest of the time on the clock lining up a goal to end this fucking game without the two sides coming together.
Everyone cools down. That's it.
Yeah. That's all I think it was.
Even dumb shit. Like, what game was it? Was it the Manly game or something where there was a spear tackle and everyone's just sort of paused? The Tigers Manly game where Naden fucking spear tackled someone, right?
Yeah, spear tackled Jakey,
And Naden's fucking all over apologising and making sure he's okay, and everyone was just fucking chill, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Players didn't come together. Manly players went to check on Jakey. Yep.
He's standing up, fucking let's get on with life. And it was last week in the Knights game. The same thing. There was a Knights player, and it wasn't a terrible spear tackle. But Clemmer's doing the old fucking end you, and he's in fucking...
He's stalking behind the line, fucking giving it the slit throats
is he
and
really
all that
now?
bullshit.
Look, there was a time in his career where he legitimately intimidated other players. He's reached a point in his career where he's essentially the drunk at the bar, telling everyone that he could have been a contender.
Yeah. I'm sure he could still be intimidating everything, but he only seems to do it at the end of the game that they're losing with like a couple of minutes left on the clock. When it means nothing, he's not... Yeah.
Yeah, the way you intimidate someone is to put them on their ass fucking over and over and over and be on them every single fucking tackle every time they touch ball.
James Fisher-Harris, right? That motherfucker in the middle is intimidating. And he says fuck all.
Nah.
He just executes
he doesn't have to.
people.
Have you looked in the cunt's eyes? Like, seriously?
He's dead inside.
Like, if I won a competition to, like, hang out with Fisher-Harris for the day, I'd be like, nah, I'm good.
I'm good. He might look at me.
That's it. Oh, fuck. Joshua. He said the Knights' defence looking like Bradman Best's name. Stupid and fucked.
Who said that?
Joshua.
Oh, Josh.
Fucking
That's fucking outstanding. You can be the listener of the week for that. That's amazing.
Richard. Latrell Mitchell is one hell of a player. He makes everyone around him instantly better, not only because he draws in attention, but through the confidence he gives the teammates. Souths were in danger last night, and he dragged them out of it. Newcastle need Dom Young to be able to pass to Dom Young. He's something else. The dreadlocked Ben Hunt.
Jesus.
Oh, fucking hell.
Come on now.
And see, here's the counterpoint to that. Isaac, who was at the game from his comment, he said defence was horrible. Heard people in the crowd reminding Dom Young to mark his man. If any Jerry in the stands can see your defensive weaknesses, so can the opposition. That's it.
Word. Okay, moving along to Saturday night, and Parramatta Eels 28. Defeat the West Tigers 20. Which is not a real reflection of the scoreline of the game, let's be real, at Leichhardt Oval. And the Eels 28 tries to Regan Campbell-Gillard, Mitchell Moses, Micah Sivo, Reid Marnie and Isaiah Papali'i. Moses 4 conversions, defeating the Tigers 20 with tries to New Brown, Dane Laurie and a double the epitome of junk time double. In fact, one was so junk it wasn't even a fucking try. David Nofaluma and Dewey 2 conversions.
You got a history of trying to take David Nofaluma's tries off him, Nathan. It started very
I'll tell you,
early
my
on in
vendetta
his career, and you've been doing it ever since.
My vendetta against the bunker and the fact that they have all the time in the world to make their decisions and still fuck them up.
Yeah.
This week, it was the fucking second try from Nofaluma, which was so
it was fucking bad, hey.
It was like there's no justification for that thing coming back green, none. Yet they somehow find a fucking way, and it could only be pity and the margin being too big for them to overcome.
Fucking Dairy Queen. Maybe they listen to the show, and shortly before they hit that green button, they're like, "Oh, this will get these cunts talking about junk time tries. Fucking green, baby."
Oh, I hope that 30 seconds of content was worth it, you cheats. What's up, Brandon Smith?
Can't fucking sin with us.
I got you, homie.
Bastards.
Glennie, explain yourself.
Well, it was fuck all for me to explain. I just fucking showed up and watched it like I do every week. And
you are what we call the avatar for the West Tigers in that seat. explain yourself, West Tigers.
Not the cool avatar, the shit avatar from the fucking boat cunt.
Yeah, you fucking instead of blue cats, it's orange cats. Pack of orange cats riding around on fucking dragons.
Listen, I don't know that I fit the avatar. If you painted me blue, I'd be fucking
less
avatar and more diabetes Smurf.
Actually, I do remember a photo of you with a fucking white arrow painted on your bald dome.
Can you imagine? Get to it, boys. Yeah, that people get to it. Get him on upper as well. You need to do upper as that little fucking that black cat that was bolting down the sidelines of the Panthers that year. Fucking yip Glennie.
Right, I feel like we've talked enough about this game. Let's move on to the next one.
Which one of your kids should be upper?
I don't know who Arpa is, mate. You tell me. You know about the
What
children.
are you laughing about the arrow on your forehead then?
Sorry? I honestly...
You were laughing like you got the reference.
No, because I remembered the time that I did legitimately have shit painted on my head. And it brought
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Good times. So you tell me which one of my kids is
Do you think I just
upper?
say random shit and it just coincidentally...
similar
things have happened to you?
I try not to pay attention to most of the shit that comes out of your fucking face. It's better for my mental health. Alrighty, the Broncos, 32, defeated the Dragons.
No.
Fuck yeah.
Tigers shot out to a surprising 12-0 lead.
It did, to the surprise of absolutely.
And the Eels looked like they were the Eels. They looked like the Eels who were the ones that were up for a bottle job.
Well, let's be fair. In the end, Para got the result that everyone expected, but they're still a long way from a real top four side or premiership contender based on that performance. I was not impressed.
I'm not sure a lifetime contract for Mitchell Moses is the way to achieve your hopes and dreams of people who've been deprived
the
for
most
fucking
Parramatta response ever to that game.
30-odd years.
Seriously, though, in the spirit of Dairy Queen, if you go through the league, right, let's say Mitch Moses was your 7, right? Go through the league and tick off who you'd trade for him. Like, you'd trade Cleary for him in a fucking heartbeat. You'd trade Hughes. You'd probably trade...
Who's all 7s? Daly, Ben Hunt.
No.
Fucking, absolutely fucking...
For their money. Are you trading what Moses... Let's say Moses is on 700.
Let's say he's fucking on more than that.
Is he?
Because he is, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
And if he re-ups for lifetime, they'll fucking crank that even more with inflation.
Okay, so let's say Cleary, Hughes, Cherry,
Jacko.
Well, look at Ben Hunt in Origin, though. You put fuck off, Jacko. Jesus Christ.
Fuck, I thought you were going to slide.
Ben Hunt is better than Mitchell Moses. That's all I'm saying.
You probably would.
He doesn't have the goal kicking, and like Mitchell Moses does have some fucking clutch, accurate goal kicking in his
he does.
In his favour. However,
he does. No,
he also
just a pure 7.
Steamrolling and getting fucking run over in defence and shit like that, and also bottling. Like while he does have a clutch sideline conversion in him, he also has a clutch just poor option on the fifth tackle when a try is required or a repeat set's required and that as well, you know?
Yeah. That's
so, yeah. I don't know. But anyway, we're taking the focus away from the real issue here, and it's the West Tigers.
I feel like we're running out of time to talk about this game, so let's move on to the next one. Look, like I said, Parramatta were expected to win, and they won. End of fucking story. I was impressed with Fanua Pole, as they like to pronounce it, and the young fella Matamua, who unfortunately decided to bring back the shoulder charge at an inopportune time. And
yes.
And look, if you haven't wanted to shoulder charge Mitchell Moses after he's kicked the ball, you're fucking not living. I think Stefano showed some glimpses of the form. He's been off this year. He's had some issues with injury as well, but he's been coming off the bench. This is his best performance of the season for the Tigers. But I thought there were enough signs there to show that they're having a dig through the middle, and defensively, I think they got caught out. Parramatta's got some quality players, and they stripped them for numbers, but I don't think Parramatta, on paper, Parramatta's easily 3 more tries than what they got on the Tigers. So
yeah, Parramatta 100% should have won that game, and they should have won it more convincingly. Was it 3 of their tries that Luke Brooks was like directly involved in?
Well, he had an air swing,
ran over him or through him, or he missed.
Yeah, that air swing was the first
Moses
one.
Palmed him off on his individual one, and
that was fucking brutal. Like, how the fuck do you make Mitch Moses look like Greg Inglis?
Especially after a week of media where people are talking about, about Brooksy Stain and the others, and
yeah.
So yeah. Unhappy for Brooksy. He may get that dropping that he so richly desires.
Oh, I think he still had his share of positive moments in the game. I just think,
look, setting up an offer for a junk time try.
No, but even earlier in the game, they ran a hell of a lot of traffic at him, and he stood up to the vast majority.
You're gonna say stood tall, and then you fucking rethought what you were saying.
I'll fucking give these cunts more ammunition. Look, at the end of the day, I've said it before, the best thing for Luke Brooks to do would be to ply his trade at another club. I think he could be, especially if he went to England,
man of steel.
Yeah, and I think
for a good club, if you went to a good club.
Yeah, but he could do a couple of years over there and come back, and I think he's a completely different player. Just to get the fuck away from the media here.
Your fan base.
Well, yeah, there's that, but also the media as well.
The other thing is to taste some success. Like, can you imagine what it's like to... Well, Glenn, imagine being you.
I saw Glenn's eyes sort of shift to that. I saw his eyes shift to the recall position, and he was, while you were saying that, he was thinking of some success to interject with, and came up with
nothing. You know what I thought? What I come up with? His debut. That was it.
But what I was going to suggest is, imagine being you in the fucking alternate Bizarro universe, where you're not fucking kicking goals and rebuilding diggers and fucking being a linchpin of the MI. Somewhere out there, there's a Glennie that never took the leaps you did in the fucking multiverse.
True, there is. That guy's a cunt.
But
well, no, that's the one common thread that ties them all together.
They're all cunts.
Or there's one super bizarro universe where Glennie's all Dairy Queen and he's Hare Krishna and he's fucking... he lives in Malaysia.
And holidays in Turkey because they're my new fucking targets.
But seriously, your entire career
is a failure. Every step of the fucking way.
Honestly, every bit of media about you's been negative.
Yeah.
He's
got to be...
got to fucking lie on
the fact it started with, he'd come up and there was a lot of hype around him. he got put into first grade, killed at his first game, was called the next fucking Andrew Johns, which he didn't call himself that.
No.
You know, and just the whole trajectory from there has, you know, the media's fucked him, the club hasn't done him any favours, the fan base have fucking eaten him alive.
His fucking manager.
Yeah.
The guy that managed fucking him and used him as a fucking negotiating tool and then fucked off with all his mates. No one has ever done right by this poor fuck. You know, it's...
Yeah, and
you got me all turned around here. I'm Team Brooksy.
Sorry?
I'm Team Brooksy. Now you got me all turned around.
No, you're not.
Oh, you know, it's like, you know, I felt bad for Syria. I wasn't booking a holiday there. You know?
Slava Brooksy.
But can I tell you, you know what I did notice?
What's that?
How fucking quickly has Robbie Farah migrated from running the fucking water bottles to donning the fucking suit and tie, sitting in that fucking coach's box, right next to fucking Kamali, you know? Oh no, I'm just want to be there with the players. I'm there for the players. I love being out there on the field and running the water for them. The fucking minute that old mate Madge is gone, and he does that fucking thing where he doesn't do the top button up and thinks no one will notice. Looks like a fucking homeless cunt Justin Pascoe clone. But,
look,
yes.
the thing is, I mean, this is how white ants go. I mean, they start at the periphery, don't they? Where they can, wherever they can get a nibble, and eventually they move to the structural parts of the building. And and Robbie's just doing what a white ant does.
But like, he hasn't even tried to not make it obvious. You know, fuck me.
The real story there
go.
is, fuck happened to Simon Dwyer?
Well, fuck, who knows? Maybe he was staunch.
No one's heard a peep out of him.
No.
Same as ever.
including the people that continue to sit next to him.
Fucking black noir. Brendan, he said, was the late hit or non-tackle on Moses worthy of a sin bin only, or only just a penalty? If it was a penalty at all,
it was definitely a penalty.
Yeah, and the late hit stuff has been is you know, they're starting
especially
to sim in that
on
shit.
a 7.
Yeah, they're starting to sim in that stuff a lot more as well. It's almost becoming one of those things where you can kind of count on it if you hit them in the right way with the right level of lateness and severity.
It was a fucking shoulder charge, like regardless.
Yeah.
Like you can't.
Yeah, you don't normally get sent off for a shoulder charge.
He didn't try and wrap it all, did he?
Not even.
And
he was just straight in. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. He didn't hit the head. Normally, the only reason he's sent off for a shoulder charge is if the shoulder makes contact with the head. However, there's two. So they've made it very clear now with the rules that if they tick two boxes, late, it's either late or high or impactful. So if you put enough force into it, don't try to pull out, or you make contact at all with the head, or it's deemed to be late, any two of those three is now a send-off.
Sin bin.
Sin bin, sorry. Yeah. I should get fucking sent off. Joe said, remember when Brooks said he will have to do what's best for him and not the club during his next contract? It'll be interesting to see what McDonald's offers him. Ryan. Fuck, we've got a lot of Ryans.
Get a fucking stool at the drive-thru.
There are fucking Ryans everywhere in our Facebook group. Ryan said, great second half from Moses after he struggled to take control in the first half. Then a different Ryan said, the Tigers went down harder than a Japanese politician giving a speech. Oof. And Jay Bartley 90 on Twitter. He said, 2 disallowed tries early. We were still able to fight back to lead by halftime and withstand a late Tigers fight back. Not a performance I'll yell from the rooftops about, but a very welcome 2 points regardless. I think that sums it up pretty well.
Way to make that win sound heroic against quality opposition. Right. The final game of the round, the Broncos 32 defeated the Dragons 18 at Suncorp, and the Broncos 32 came through a double to Katoni Staggs, a double to Deloise Hoyter, New and Mam with tries, Reynolds 4 conversions, the Dragons 18 through a double to Cody Ramsey, try to Moses Sully, and 3 conversions to Zach Lomax.
Why don't you start on this one as the resident Dragons fan for the week?
Well, but yeah, no, I was essentially it was more the Broncos winning put Manly into the 8. So I don't think you're entirely correct there with what you're saying. But although I actually hadn't looked at the table before the game either, so I was just there just as a neutral, trying to enjoy some rugby league and not catch the coronavirus while doing so. Jury's out in the second one. I feel all right at the moment, though. Let's see who's at the end of the week. Look, I think the Dragons, actually, I expected them, without Ben Hunt, to absolutely be rolled from minute 1 of the game. But they came out pretty tough, and they were hitting hard. And I'm not talking about the illegal stuff either. Some of the fucking contact in defence out wide from the Dragons was fucking, like, you could hear it up in the rafters. And they were hurting the Broncos. I mean, then Sims decided to take that shit to the next level, and it was clear that it was a plan from the Dragons early on to test the match readiness of Adam Reynolds and how much, how really where his ribs were at, and if he was, still injured at all, because of the way they saw him kind of capitulate meekly the week before or the game before, And to Reynolds' credit, I mean, he ate it all up and played pretty well. I mean, he certainly got rid of the ball a lot faster than he got good at getting rid of the ball quickly as well. But it was. I mean, and the Dragons were obviously hobbled by the dual sin binnings to the sim bin, and
that's really bad.
But having said that, the Dragons kind of they dug in defensively though. And the Broncos didn't really yield a fuck ton of points out of those periods where they had a man advantage.
No, they didn't.
And attacking down their left, the amount of times that they had 2-3 man overlaps and just didn't give it. The sideline to spare, and they just didn't give it. And they just tried to the player who was 3 in or 4 in just decided, oh well, we've got him shot, I'm just going to fucking step in and get straight through and score a try or something. No, and the Dragons did a great job of shutting it down. I mean, in the first half, the Broncos had a bit of trouble figuring out Moses Sully, and letting him just fucking crash over them like a tank, and he got a try that way. But as the match wore on, and towards the end of the first half and then into the second half, the Broncos made so many breaks down there just through Katoni Staggs, realising that he had speed and footwork, both of which are things that Moses Sully is not blessed with, and it was really easy to get on the outside of him, and then the points kind of flew from there, and Cody Ramsey. So again, the resurrection of his career after having after not looking great last year, when he was debuting, when he was playing on the wing, he's pretty good and fucking fast too. That first try he scored was fucking fast.
Yeah,
to just blast through in a straight line and just race everyone to the corner.
There were defensive players that legit had the hop on him as he broke through and still didn't make any gain at all.
I mean, he was running away from us when he scored that try, but fucking looked impressive. The hole that opened up too, like I thought, was there a fucking obstruction in there or something? Because like the hole that he got through, and it was impressive. And look, overall, it was probably that first half was the best we've seen of Moses Sully for quite some time as well. But yeah, I mean, he doesn't have the speed or the lateral movement to go with someone like Katoni Staggs when he's on.
Yeah,
and
true.
Eventually he figured that out right at the end, where the try at the end of the first half, and then kept going from there. What do you reckon, Glennie?
I think the Dragons needed to step up as a team to cover the absence of Ben Hunt, and they got part of the way there. And they had a few individual moments to keep themselves in the contest, probably for 40 minutes or so. But I think the Broncos... Reynolds isn't 100%, but he he stuck it out, and I think his teammates benefit from him being on the park and directing him around. I think Sims, as you said, Nate, spending a quarter of the fucking game in the sin bin. It's the Dragons just aren't that team that can sustain that and win. I think that ultimately put an end to their chances for the game. And for the Broncos, I think Staggs, they identified, that there was a mismatch there when he had the ball in his hands, and they kept going to him. You don't see enough of that from him, for a guy that's got such big raps and is clearly a talented player. He's got a touch. I'll call it the James Roberts about him, where he doesn't go looking for the ball enough, and if it's not.
But also, how often is he? How often is he given a matchup with the turning circle
No,
of
of
Clean
course,
Mary?
Yeah. But he's. I mean, Moses Sully isn't the only guy in the league that Katoni Staggs is going to favour his chances. Fancy his chances against. I think whether it's the team as a whole or he's not guilty of demanding the ball. Maybe that's part of his development. He's still young. And Ezra Mam, he's essentially the epitome of a player taking his opportunity in the NRL with both hands. Just
wasn't on the radar.
Not even
prior to the season. Wasn't on the radar when they were letting Dearden go and all the makeshifts that they tried to run in there in the six. And then he's come in there and he's absolutely seized it, and he's not going anywhere now.
Yeah, that's it.
Exactly.
Oh, the other thing as well, there's Jaden Sullivan. Speaking of young guys not taking their opportunities, he was okay, but in the second half, the Dragons were running towards us, and he was playing on the side of the field, right in front of where we were sitting. And the amount of fucking times that he tried to step inside, and it was the last tackle, and he just died with the ball, and just create it happened like 2 sets in a row, or at least 2, and it was like 10 meters out when they were on the attack. I mean, they could have had a kick put through, try and force the repeat set. The Dragons fans are fucking loving it.
The Dragons' night was summed up by poor fifth tackle options.
Yep.
And that's where they missed Hunt. So if you take a step back, objectively, if I'm a Dragons fan, I'm like, okay, well, our performance without clearly our best fucking player and the person that has dragged us to most of the wins we've had this year, without him, we stood up for the majority of the game.
Yeah.
We've got 2 fucking very young makeshift halves in there, and they had some very poor fifth tackle options, so I'm probably not too upset with that game overall. But you're right, Nate. Every opportunity where they could have put some pressure on the Broncos, and there was that period there after Reynolds got whacked a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like, he came good and had a good game overall, but after he got whacked a couple of times, he was off. And in his credit, I think that's a testament to him coming back from that and not going full fucking Jamie Soward.
Yeah.
But the Dragons, every time they could have built some pressure, they either kicked it dead and let Brisbane out with 7 tackles, or just took ridiculous runs on the last and died, 8 metres out when there was nothing on. So.
Yep. Yeah, there was a Dragons fan sitting the row behind us and just to the right. And he, at those points when Jaden Sullivan was dying with the ball, he said, without any fucking tinge of irony in his voice, is, "I never thought I'd say that we'd miss Ben Hunt."
Jesus.
And I almost turned around and said, "Cunt, have you fucking watched any of your fucking games this year?" I mean, like, honestly. And then literally within 2 sets, he started bemoaning the fact that the Dragons were a one-man team.
I love it.
He also left the tray with 3 beers because he decided to leave before the final hooter, and they hadn't drunk all their beers, and so instead of trying to power chug them or whatever, they just left 3 full beers there too. Which, I mean, if you know Dragons fans like Glennie does, like,
Cunts.
It's not a surprise.
Cunts, a lot of them, and clearly can't handle their fucking beer or are afraid to handle their beer. And I've seen, I saw a fucking drunk Dragons fan driving past my work today who fucking wanted to wind his window down and shout a bunch of bullshit in as he's driving past in the traffic outside my fucking place of business.
Yeah,
That guy.
How is Cashy anyway?
He's a piece of shit, as he's always been.
Lovely.
So, yeah, fuck the Dragons and fuck their fans.
John said, seriously, why do the Dragons keep doing stupid shit when they have momentum? 3 stupid penalties equals 3 soft tries. Certainly did. Liam said, no Ben Hunt equals no Dragons. Go the baby Broncos. Yeah, enjoy that one. Jason, he said, really brave effort from a Dragon side, missing 95% of their team. And Mitch, he said, couple of the baby Broncos giving solid performances. Hoyter out wide is on fire. Hoskins having a good performance. Then he goes on about something exciting about the Broncos playing at Suncorp for another 12 years, which I don't really fucking...
Oh yeah, okay. So what? Yeah, so I said that in the Patreon members group.
There you go.
They came out at halftime, Donaghy and Eichen with the MC or whatever, and he said, like, I've got Dave Donaghy and Ben Eichen with me. We've got an exciting announcement, and I thought they were going to like drop Reece Walsh on him or something, so like an actual exciting announcement while you had 29,000 people there in attendance. And then Donaghy goes, he gets the mic. He said, "Yeah, I'm very proud to say that we have signed a 12-year extension to keep the Broncos at Suncorp Stadium."
Was that in doubt?
Where the fuck else were they going to fucking play?
Are they going to play at the Gabba?
Or go back to QE2 or something like.
Jesus.
There's nowhere fucking. Of course they're not fucking going. And so, fellas, with that in mind, I've got an exciting announcement for you tonight.
You're a cunt.
Tomorrow is a day that ends in Y. 30,000 people.
Oh, rally towels.
They keep hammering that song that they use as the theme song of the league.
Oh,
it's... every breaking play, and they're going like this. Fucking shit. Just repugnant.
I don't know why they've made their actions looking like somebody's a fucking orchard worker in the dick plantation. Seriously, if someone with any Photoshop skills got a hold of the crowd vision,
because it would exist too, because people do that, with the intention of getting on the camera, like the camera's used around to pick them out as they have the breaking play.
Did you see the one they did of Trump? Because that's how Trump dances. How Broncos fans dance to that song is how Donald Trump dances on stage to Kid Rock or whatever the fuck it was. And someone did one.
Counting Crows.
Someone did that.
Motherfucker.
He's a Republican, did you know?
Mr.
Staunchly
Trump
fucking Republican. Yeah. Mr. Jones is actually the fetus of rape.
Oh,
and he's talking about how it's always with him.
Jesus fucking Christ!
No wonder they're number 1 in Toowoomba.
I cannot.
You know how some fucking that fucking Kate Bush songs come back in the charts now because of Stranger Things?
Yeah, because Stranger Things.
Yeah. That comes up in Toowoomba anytime someone mentions abortion. It's number 1 on Toowoomba charts.
You said some fucking absolute rubbish on this show and to my face. And of all of it combined, that is by far the worst.
Hey, I'm as shocked as his political preferences as you are. You know?
Yeah, usually the dirty hippies with dreadlocks vote green.
Oh, fuck! You guys are great.
Glennie, did you need it this week? Did
No.
you need this?
No, I never need this. Never. Last week was fucking great. Really enjoyed fucking bit of time with the boys. This week, go fuck yourselves.
Oh well, we're back on track. Situation normal. All right. So on that is the games. But we do need to look ahead, fellas, because we have the State of Origin coming up in 2 short nights. The decider, the big one. Now,
the decader.
We've got the coronavirus playing its role, knocking out Munster and who's the other guy, Talangi. We had the coronavirus strike in New South Wales, knocking out people who weren't going to play anyway. You got Felice Kafusi with family issues.
Yeah, it's a bit sad.
It's all it's all happening now. The sides for New South Wales, much the same as the victorious lineup from Game 2. Queensland obviously have to make some changes, and I don't think we don't actually know yet how the Queensland side's going to line up with Thomas Dearden being brought in. Is Ben Hunt going to play in the halves with Daly? Are they going to bring Dearden in?
So is Munster officially out? Will not.
I believe he was ratted on Saturday, was it? And I think in his PCR that day or the next day. So he's officially out, and so's Talangi. And so that brings Corey Oates in on the wing. And he's been having a good season.
Who, again, like just for that position, it's not a fucking bad swap.
No, exactly. No.
Like a lot of shit I don't get in rugby league. The Corey Oates hate, I don't get it at all.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm not seeing little nuances that Broncos fans see because, maybe they're watching...
Because you don't give a fuck?
Like more closely or whatever. But I don't get the fucking Corey Oates hate.
If nothing else, the guy clearly fucking gives 100%.
Yeah.
Like, look, as a Tigers fan, that's enough for me. Look like you want to be out there. Oh, fuck, it's a start.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Again, the difference between Munster and whoever they put in the halves, it's not, worlds apart. They're all fucking rep players, but it's enough.
Yeah, it's plenty.
And especially when you look at Queensland in Game 2 and the fact that Munster single-handedly pulled them into that contest and kept them there and made sure they won.
Game 1.
That's what... sorry, Game 1.
Game 2 he did 2/5 of fuck all.
Yeah,
like he's going to do in Game 3.
Yeah, so Queensland aren't going to win this one on the merit of being better players or having a better side. They need to win it on effort, and that being the case, he's a fucking massive out.
Yeah, and really, I mean, New South Wales, let's face it, Jacob Saifidi swapped for Payne Haas. Now there's a fucking worlds apart disparity.
Yeah,
in terms of contribution quality.
Yes. Whilst
I'm sure Jakey will do everything and save the day, but sorry, go ahead.
I was going to suggest. Look, I know that in life everybody has their struggles, but if anyone from New South Wales is experiencing any sort of erectile dysfunction at the moment, I strongly advise you to go into Queensland supporting Facebook groups and troll through the fucking comments of the announcement that Munster's been ruled out with COVID. Be very careful. I'd only go half a dozen comments per day because it'll flip the fucking needle on your spectrum and you'll go from erectile dysfunction straight to just premature ejaculation at a strong breeze.
Or priapism, and you have to go to the hospital to get them to fucking deflate your fucking tyres.
Yeah, exactly. Or for those not close to a hospital, you'll be leeching your own dick. So, I was told by a mate to go and have a look at it the other day, and I went and had a look, and there are seriously people on there, without a hint of fucking irony, suggesting that the game should be postponed for 2 weeks because it's or how the series should just be called a draw. Now,
fine. Then the winners retain the trophy.
And that's
fine.
It, when someone then points out that no, they fucking don't. Oh,
no, they did when you were fucking winning your streak. So yeah.
So
I tell you, and people will say, oh, if with these players out, due to COVID and everything, it'd be like an asterisk on the result, or you don't want to win it. You don't want to win it that way. Actually, motherfucker, you say New South Wales doesn't get Origin? Oh, we get it. We'll take it anyway. We get it. We'll win that motherfucker, and then we'll add it to the streak, and we'll keep doing it.
Because a player being out, like, what the fuck?
Oh, it's fucking great, Glennie. Even you'd get some laughs out of this one.
Oh, fucking painful just listening to you talk about it. I think, obviously, Munster is fucking a massive, massive out just by his presence on the field. And I think the impact that he has as an individual when he has the ball in his hands, the impact that he has on New South Wales from their defensive standpoint and perspective.
Unless Nathan Cleary charges down his kick in the first fucking set and he just goes missing for the rest of the 80 minutes. There is that.
But I guess we'll fucking never know because the cunt's not playing. And then also from his teammates' perspective, because he is that guy that can create something out of nothing, but it'll be interesting to see which way they go, whether they play Hunt at 6 or throw Dearden in straight from the kickoff. Either way, as you say, I think on paper and certainly in Game 2, New South Wales were by far the better and more cohesive side, and there's just so much fucking talent. I don't think Queensland can stand and trade, so to speak, with them. They need to drag it into a scrappier type contest and let guys like TWiL and let them toil away and have those effort plays, as you said, Jay. I think that's Queensland's best chance of winning. They're not going to win a fucking shootout.
Your best chance of winning is Capewell playing in the centres and Gutho getting a surprise selection opposite him.
COVID ripping through the side and requiring the selection of Gutho and Mitchell Moses.
That's it. If I'm Billy Slater, I'm fucking having every New South Wales player wake up at 2 a.m. with Cam Munster leaning over them going,
yeah, that's a bit creepy.
You take it. And on that note,
New South Wales by 50.
New South Wales by, what was it, 44-12 last time? So,
New South Wales by a girdler.
Look, there's the look, if it ends up that way, I will stop watching rugby league because I will have achieved the ultimate form of completion if Jakey does a fucking hand grenade. Holy fuck, I'll turn inside out. I will come so hard. So, yeah. Like, on one hand, do that, Jakey, but on the other hand, don't do that. Like, I just don't know what the ramifications would be medically. I mean, if something like that happened. But New South Wales by. Well, look, they got a better win coming up this time for New South Wales. However, it's at Suncorp, so let's deduct that. And if my NRL maths works correctly, New South Wales by 28 points.
There you go. You heard it here first.
Glennie, how much is Queensland going to win by? What are you going to delude yourself with, mate?
8 points.
8 points.
They can't win a shootout, so it's got to be a tight contest.
Right. They're going to stop New South Wales scoring all those points, are they? All right. Cool.
Motherfucker, you asked. I gave you an answer. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Now I am mocking. I'm mocking your answer now.
This is the opposite of shutting the fuck up.
You know DCE's in the side, yeah, and we'll be defending on the line.
Don't have a problem with Cherry's defence, mate. Do not have a problem with it.
I'll tell you, that's the one argument that you'd have against having Dearden in there from the start, because like he's like a good young player, right?
Yeah.
However, Game 3 Origin decider with people like Appy just fucking sending cunts down his throat in the fucking early brutal exchanges. Yeah, and especially if New South Wales have like some good ball sets where they can just send dudes straight down his throat 10 metres out. It's hard to. There's nowhere to hide, for a youngster. So I think maybe just for the sake of stabilising the team,
get in there, have a go.
It would be a good test of Slater's nous, I guess.
Yeah, because I mean we know Freddie's got none. I mean his nous is basically good timing and luck.
New South Wales are winning in spite of Freddie.
Yeah, exactly. But on that note, that is full time for episode 477. Thanks for listening, and as always, if you'd like to support the show, feel free to consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TWiLNation. Merch, additional episodes, and more. And fellas, do you have anything else that you would like to add before we wrap this one up?
Fuck you, Nathan.
The time has gone off. Just to remind people, if you, especially new listeners, want to contribute to the show each week with your game comments after the end, the best way and easiest way to do that is to become a part of our Facebook group. Don't just search This Week in League on Facebook. Go to Facebook groups and search TWiL Nation, one word. It's a private group. Request to be let in, and that way each week you can post in the game threads, and if it's not a fucking piece of shit comment, you get read out after the game.
Or if it is a piece of shit comment and your name is Grover, we'll read it out.
Fucking stop it. How many other people do you know that would get trolled for being a fucking Sharks fan and then take the piss out of himself in a comment? Grover's good people. Grover's good
Glenn.
People.
Oh, fucking wow.
I know, fellas. I will talk to you on Thursday.
Later.
See ya.